And once a woman cheats, this is what I'll tell you that I've noticed. Uh, that once a woman cheats, she doesn't want to stop. It's
Mm.
like, whereas a man, he can, because I'm talking to you about more from a traditional male perspective. One of the things that Dr. Glover talks about is that each generation of men past World War II has become increasingly passive. So when we talk about males today, it's different than talking about males before, So the traditional male was never, he wasn't in the dark about his sex drive. He understood that he had impulses, and by the time he got married, he may have figured out ways to control those impulses. So once a woman cheats, if she's never done that before, if she's never cheated before, it's like, women are very honest when we're talking. It's like, there's no shame. Just let's get in there and let's talk about this. And it is, I'll die if it's like, I can't imagine. So it is a true just addiction. Her life just becomes all consuming about this affair. And the big difference that's the thing that men are most fooled by is this belief that women need an emotional connection to have sex. And so what I wanted to explain is that women need to be attracted to have sex. And if a woman is attracted to a man, she feels emotional connection. It could
Mm.
be the most superficial connection there is. So in terms of emotional connections, it's very different for men and women. Men's emotional connections are much deeper. Okay. A woman's are much more superficial. Dime a dozen. It's like spreading your seed. Like a man can have sex and it cannot be a big deal. A woman can make an emotional connection. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But if she's attracted, she'll make it a big deal. I've had women that have gone on a trip. They talked to someone for 20 minutes on a plane. And 2 weeks later, they're going to separate from their husband. They don't know
Mm.
shit about him. So it's a very superficial connection. So what women like is sex with a story, so it's not just sex. It's not, oh, he's just hot. I have to have a story in my head, and that's when you think about what soap operas are. Women
Hmm.
are attracted to, just like men, the shadow side of the masculine is an attraction to physical violence. For women, it's an attraction to emotional violence. That the idea of cheating, that always plays a role in women's soap operas. And it's always set like in hospitals or fire stations where people are dying. So it's all this drama with my sex. You know what I mean? Like all this intensity of emotion. So it's really not a deep connection. It's just intensity, you know?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
typically women are the most attracted to men that scare them. It's, and so like a really masculine man, so she whether she's conscious of it or not, she's afraid she's going to get hurt. Like this man's dangerous in some way. So just as men can be daredevils and climb mountains and go skydiving and it's very physical, a woman wants to be a daredevil in a relationship. Oh, I might get killed emotionally. He might rip out my heart. So these are the types of things that captivate women. It's sex with a story. And this is where men get confused and they're thinking, well, if I just treat her better, if I'm just a nicer guy, if I just ask her how she feels more. No, the guy she's sleeping with probably doesn't ask her how she feels. He
Hmm.
treats her very much like a woman sexually. It's about desire, you know? So,
So I'm trying to put myself in a man's point of view who this is all brand new to him. And he's a very conservative, traditional man. You get married, you have woman, you're together forever and ever for 40, 50 plus years, and then you die. And now we've introduced to him, well, what do you think about, hey, Mr. Conservative Traditional Man, what do you think about the infidelity thing? What about women's infidelity? Rarely happens, and if it does, it's one off, yada yada, whatever. Now we're come to him saying, well, actually, um, your wife's sexual energy within the marriage, the more it gets like traditional and let's use the term boring, predictable, safe, secure,
or it's flat.
the
Think of it as flat emotion.
Yeah. The flatter it is, in
Yeah.
essence, kind of the safest it is. And that's what it's kind of antithetical to what a lot of men think, especially more traditional conservative types, is I want to make this as boring, safe, and predictable as humanly possible. So that's what he's been basically taught his whole life. He saw with his parents, his grandparents, make this boring, safe, predictable as humanly possible. Keep all danger out. And he's like, I've done this. And wait, now you're telling me that that is the antithesis to passion and sexuality in my woman, and you're telling me
Yes.
she can be easily led away by here comes the pool boy, here comes the milkman. Here I'm showing my age. Here comes some outside influence can easily sway her and pull her away from this safe and secure thing that I have built with my hard labor and money and efforts and love and devotion. That is, I guess what I'm trying to say is, Michelle, are we laying the groundwork for a very anti marriage, anti traditional monogamy mindset?
No, no.
Okay.
I think that we are in a transitional period.